Hey Happy Crumbers, the video about to watch is an immediate after-action report from both Shetzel and I detailing our responses to the GothCon tournament, which was this massive, major, very high-level tournament that was happening in Sweden. This is not going to be really a tournament review so much as the lessons that we learned from playing at this level of competition and some of the things that we took away that I think all of you are going to benefit from a ton. So listen in. I think it's maybe about a 20 to 30 minute conversation, but it is actually just chock full of lessons and advice that I think is really going to help to impact your game. So listen up, and I appreciate all of your attention. We're going to get into it right now. There we go.
Cool.
Mr. Shetzel, we did it.
Mr. Jonathan, success.
Cheers. Shetzel and I were at GothCon this last weekend. It was a 3-day, 6-round tournament, and it was freaking awesome. We had a total blast.
It's always amazing.
You're looking at numbers 3 and 4 in the tournament.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's get them
Representing
dubs.
Team Norway. This was an amazing tournament. There were an incredible amount of super high-level players there. The WTC players out the wazoo.
Yeah, like half the tournament was WTC affiliated somehow, including the TO.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The TO was Neil Kerr, who until this year has organized the WTC every single year.
The true OG.
The true OG. So he has taken a step back for personal reasons. But he ran a great singles tournament. We had a blast with it. But anyway, we just want to kind of talk a little bit about how the way the tournament went here. And a few things that maybe we picked up along the way.
Yep.
So just to kind of give everyone like a quick run through, what were your pairings? What did you play into? Because you lost in round 2.
Yes, I lost to the Swedish WTC captain, Jonathan Slay Johnson.
The second Jonathan.
Yes, so typically people just refer to him as JSJ, because there are a lot of Jonathans in Sweden.
There's only one Jonathan over in Europe.
Exactly. So when people say Jonathan, it's him. When people say Jonathan, or JSJ, it's Swedish WTC captain. First game, I played a lovely Blood Angels gentleman. I went first. He did not have Lamarties for some reason, which is kind of bad. I still think he probably should have rapid ingressed that. And I sort of tried to advise him, are you sure you want to deploy those? You don't want to coach people too much, right?
Right.
In a tournament, because that's kind of insulting.
You do it a little bit, but
yeah. You can do some hinting and stuff. Second game was JSJ.
He was running Black Templar's Gladius.
Yes.
And it should be noted, Shetzel was running poisonous Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
Sorry. We should have said that previously.
Yeah. Truly toxic guard.
Indirect everywhere.
12 Bullgrins, 20 Cathicans. I don't think I could have won that matchup. I think it's a bad matchup for Guard in general.
Yep.
Maybe with 18 Bullgrins, it buys me enough time. But the terrain was the terrain JSJ wanted. The mission was the one he wanted. He could stage everywhere with the hammer and anvil deployment to the vital ground. So the cards were stacked against me, and I went second. If I went first, I had a chance.
Yep.
And then just things randomly happened.
And I think we spend a decent amount of time on this matchup because the others kind of go pretty fast for you.
Yeah,
so in all reality,
literally they all went.
Yeah. So let's just talk real quick of what the Black Templar Gladius list was, if you guys don't know. So it's essentially 3 blobs of Sword Brethren and 3 Black Templar impulsors, right?
Yes, sir.
One's big difference because they have an extra multi-melta. And then it's also going to be running Helbrecht was in one of them, yeah.
Helbrecht was in one of them. He had the tanky enhancement, the armor of artificer armor, field of pain, whatever.
Yep.
And then he had the
captain's running with the other 2 squads.
Yeah, and a fighty captain with another enhancement.
Yep. And that's the core of it. And there's a Redeemer in there.
There's a Redeemer with 6 Eradicators and an Apothecary Biologus with the Fire Discipline.
Which can kill any tank.
Absolutely terrifying.
Kills
Holy shit.
Any tank.
And it will obliterate tanks on the Overwatch as well.
Yeah, easily.
And I had to get greedy and try to survive that in order to win the matchup. He overwatched. And obviously blew it up. I had to do that. I think if I had were to do anything differently, I would have stood still and taken my chances on the Bullgrin surviving the Impulsor. Or blocking somehow.
Yep.
That's probably the one thing I would have done differently there. I don't think it would have won me the game. But it would have been a better differential than 2 points.
And so the problem in this matchup, right, your Imperial Guard versus the Black Templar Gladius is going to be realistically, it's pressure. All pressure lists are a problem for Imperial Guard, right?
It's pacing.
Yeah.
It's all about the pacing.
Because they just drive it so fast.
Yeah. You will have 1 turn to stop it.
Yep.
And if you don't have at minimum 12 bullgryns, it won't happen.
Right. And so I think that is the weakness of Imperial Guard right now.
Yeah,
right?
basically.
A lot of people think Imperial Guard are like really underpowered. They're wrong. Imperial Guard is not underpowered. Imperial Guard is actually very good, but it does absolutely have a vulnerability to pressure.
Yeah, you gotta get at him. Like, there were 2 lists going into the tournament that was an issue for me. It was you and it was him.
Right.
I mean, I think Victor's is an interesting matchup.
Grey Knights.
Yeah, the Manichima style list with
Freaking Canis Rex and 6 Dread Knights.
6
and a
Dread
Liberated Redeemer.
6 Dread Knights, Canis Rex, the Redeemer,
God,
and 2
that was
Technons.
such poison.
I'm
Absolute cancer.
I'm sorry he didn't win, but I'm also glad he didn't win.
Oh my God.
I don't want that thing.
We don't want to
be a thing.
encourage other people to play that list. All right, but we
But it's
digress.
good. But it's good.
So that was your only loss, and you went 5-1 with the guard.
Yep.
The
other games were Hypercrypt Necrons with 3 Catans. I picked up 2 in one round, and then Nightbringer died to the fucking Cyclops, basically.
Yep.
Nightbringer took 6 mortals from the Cyclops.
The Cyclops?
Yeah, the 25.4 world thingamajig. That's basically a spore mine.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then a Kriegsman with a lasgun with +1 to wound because the unit was a little damaged.
That's
went like
awesome.
Ooh.
Seriously? Okay, all right, that's fantastic.
Yeah, a Kriegsman basically killed the Nightbringer.
Oh man.
Then I had the best game of the tournament, which was against Mr. Jimmy Feel or Peel. I can't remember if it's H first or L second, whatever. He's an excellent guy. As far as I know, everyone knows him and knows him as a great guy.
And what was the army?
Grey Knights.
That was Grey Knights, right? Yeah. Okay.
So because I've played Victor, I know it. He deployed on the line as he should have done. I went first, picked up 2 Dread Knights, turn 1, and then it was just a cascading failure from there.
Yep.
He gave me the pressure on the Omega objective as he should. He played everything right. I just had the right amount of bullgryns to just tank Drago and the Paladins.
Yep.
Until it didn't matter anymore.
Yeah, you just pound them with mana cores, right?
Yeah, basically. Just kill everything else, take the entire board, get the Omega at the end.
Yep.
Then I played the Guard Mirror.
Round 5?
Round 5?
Round 5, yeah.
Yep, Guard Mirror. I went first. He did not attach Lord Solar to anything, so I did 1 Basilisk.
Gentlemen, if you're playing Imperial Guard, hear me out on this. You're correct. You don't need to attach Lord Leontis in most matchups. But when you're fighting indirect, you must attach Leontis to something.
Yeah. What he should have done, what he absolutely should have done, was taken the Caden Castellan into the same Rhino as Ursula and just disembarked in turn 1 before he moved.
So what, turn 1, you go first, you kill Leontis and what, like 2 Basilisk?
I killed Leontis and the single Sentinel. So that when his indirect fired at me, I just smoked.
Oh, because he has
then they
can't,
hit
ignore the penalty.
Yeah. So then they hit
5s or 6s.
4 space, right? No orders, but it's heavy, so it's back to 4s.
But
and
it's
then
indirect.
5s.
Oh gosh, disgusting.
Yeah.
So that was a wash, and then you will go into round 6,
Custodes.
which is absolutely impossible for Custodes to beat Imperial Guard.
And it should be said, like, any game except the one against JSJ was done in 40 minutes.
Yeah. So this is the way it works, right? And you guys know I love my Custodes, so let me just run the Custodes matchup real quick,
Yes,
if I may.
Absolutely.
So if you're taking the super popular Custodes list, which is 2 or 3 Blade Champs with 3 blocks of Wardens, which everyone thinks is the best, it's not. They're wrong. But it is a good list. And you're playing against Imperial Guard. Turn 1, all 3 Warden squads have to pop their Fort Field of Fame.
Yes, sir.
You have to pop them all, and you have to waste them all. Because if you don't, then he's just going to kill the one squad that hasn't popped it.
He did do it correctly, though, and he rapidly ingressed Trajan.
Good, which is what you need to do, right? Absolutely.
He absolutely played it correctly. I think he was really good at handling.
No, Rasmus was a good player, because I played him in round 5, actually.
Yeah, he was really good at handling the
very good
matchup. He did the correct heroic intervention to try and manage the bullets.
Smart. Yep.
Just isn't enough if I go first.
Yeah, and so I actually played that player in a round. I'll talk about it a little bit, too. So just overall thoughts, any things that you would change in your list you're happy? And I'll actually post your list in the video for people to look at.
Yeah, this terrain setup, you should post the maps as well.
Cool, I'll see if I can do the list.
On the terrain layout we had, I think the list was optimal.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have fit another Kaskin unit. I think the Lehman Russ battle tank was 100% the right choice. It was a big champ. It one-shot the Deceiver by itself because it went on an objective. So, and then stationary, lethals, damage 3, pop, Bob's your uncle, it's dead.
Nice.
It's soloed 20-man Cadian blobs because I got like 20 hits or something. No, 16 hits with the... Because it's 5 each. It's 5 each on the plasma cannons, right? Solo the 20-man blob. Yeah.
So tank commanders in.
Tank Commander is always in.
Yeah.
But the Lehman Russ Battle Tank was a nice addition.
Nice.
Because it was between him and another Tank Commander.
Yeah, I saw some other people.
Here's the big thing.
Sorry.
A lot of people get this wrong. The Tank Commander does not benefit from Fields of Fire because it doesn't have Squadron or Regimental.
That's true.
But the Lehman Russ Battle Tank does.
Okay.
So AP5 plasma cannons or AP3 on the main battle tanking reroll to hit against things on objectives. That kills stuff.
Yeah,
like that Dread Knight's gone. Wounds
Yep.
on 3s, reroll to hit, lethals possibly.
Yep. That's pretty solid. And actually, I really like that because I ran across a list that was actually fairly similar to yours, but he wasn't running Tank Commander and Lehman Russ. He was running Tank Commander and Rogodorn.
Exactly.
And the points upgrade to the Rogodorn just takes too much else off of the rest of your army.
It's about 75 points more from the battle tank to the Dorn.
It's too much.
Not good enough.
Dorn needs to be 20 points cheaper, I think. Maybe
something like that.
Something roughly around that.
To be valuable.
You could argue 30 maybe, but
it's too expensive for now at least.
But yeah, great showing. I think you crushed it.
Yep.
Really awesome. I think you did a great job. So I'm gonna quickly go through mine now, and I learned a lot of really valuable lessons this tournament. I think I'm gonna drop them for you. So in round 1, I played against a Max Persson, who
good friend of ours, by the way.
Freaking rockstar, by the way. He was an Adeptus Sororitas player, and I played my Blood Angels list, all jump pack infantry. And if I learned one thing from this, it's to coach my Adeptus Sororitas players a little bit differently. So Max made one error in this game, and the error was he had left his what's it called, a Palatine?
Palatine. Palatine or
Palatinate or something. The one with the blade of Saint Eleanor with the not neophytes, the
novitiates, sister novitiates.
And
that sister what fights good.
That sister what fights good. Yeah, and so they were hanging out in a rhino, dude, and I drew Assassinate. And I go, interesting. So I just moved my Vindicator up. I oathed the moment to that rhino. I killed it. And because I blew up the rhino, everything inside of the rhino comes out and they count as battle shocks.
Yes, sir.
Which means when I rush in and I kill them, they can't fight undeath. And he can't resurrect the Paladin.
Yes, sir.
Which screwed him.
That just won that flank.
Yeah,
right?
and it won the game. It really did just win the game. I did make one other error, which gave him a chance to slide back because I actually ended up consolidating a tank back onto an objective, which was a terrible decision. I should have left it where it was for an Overwatch. I guess I can't really verbalize to you how important that was, but it was really important, trust me. But yeah, so it was a great game. I ended up winning 12-8, so I had an absolute blast with them.
Going 12-8 in game 1 versus me going 18-2 in game 1 when everyone has the same path to victory is probably what gave me the very hard matchup, and then you got probably not as hard a matchup.
Yeah,
right?
I think I definitely had a no offense to your first opponent, I think I had a hard matchup in round 1.
Exactly.
But because I had a smaller differential.
Because you had like one of the two big sister experts.
Right.
It's him and Dog.
So running into like round 2 though, I think my next opponent, he actually was a pretty good player, but I think he was a little bit inexperienced and he wasn't quite ready for people who understand pylons and consolidates.
Yeah.
Right? Because pylons and consolidates, I think that's where your good freaking players understand the game.
Yeah. Like from good to great is the fight phase.
Yeah, it's how do you do combat movement? And he just wasn't quite ready for it. So it was Imperial Guard. And I was really scared after round 1 because he launched a bunch of mana cores and he essentially wiped my entire Van Vet squad. I think I had like 2 Van Vets and a Sang Priest left. And I was like, oh, that's bad. And then in my round 1, I killed a Tank Commander and a Lehman Russ and a Chimera and a Scout Sentinel and a Blobakachkin. And I also tagged his Rogodorn in melee.
This was the same guy in my guard mirror, I believe.
Oh, is it
Johan?
Johan.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, he played quite well. But like Blood Angels be Blood Angels do. When you
you could tell like this is like a typical thing, right? They're really good players.
Yep.
But they don't necessarily have certain specific matchup experience,
right.
like the guard mirror,
exactly.
Blood Angels.
Because and you tell your opponents what you can do. So I told them I had the 6-inch consolidate strat, right?
Yep.
But I don't think it's hard to understand what 6 inches is. So until you experience what a 6-inch consolidate is. So I was able just to go so far and tag so much with it. It really just wrecked it. So that was a pretty big win. I think it was 16-4. And it should be noted that at this tournament, they were using like a sliding scale, which is a little bit interesting. So I liked it though.
If you go into BCP, you can actually see it. If you host your own tournament, it is like an official option. It's like It's the West Sweden differential that people always ask questions about.
Okay. That's
the scale they use for every single tournament in Sweden.
I see.
So it's not. So it just makes it so that 50 points isn't a 20-0 blowout.
Right.
So there's a better sliding scale of differentials.
Totally.
0-5 is still draw, but if you get a 20-0, you've bodied someone.
Yep.
Bad.
Yeah.
You need 71.
There's a guy behind the camera who both 20-0'd and got 20-0'd. So here's to you, buddy.
So you need 71 points, I believe, for a 21.
All right, so that was round 2. Round 3, round 3 was against Thomas Christensen. Now this is the guy who knocked out our buddy Victor from winning contention.
That was the mirror.
So he was a fantastic Grey Knight player.
More traditionalist, you'd say, probably.
Yeah, because he had the 3 Terminator 3 units of 5 Terminators. He had
the Librarians.
He had 3 Libbies. He had 3 NDKs and 1 Grandmaster. Right. So this was on Purge the Foe, and I went first. And I went, shit, because you do not want to go first on Purge the Foe against Grey Knights.
You don't want to go first against Grey Knights ever.
No.
You definitely want to go second.
But not on Purge the Foe. And this was, I'm proud of myself for this. So I made a good decision here, right? So I went first on Purge the Foe, and if you guys don't know Purge the Foe, you want to go second on it. I knew at that point I had basically lost the game. So how do I pivot? Full send, baby. You full send, you full pressure him, you give him the targets turn 1, you know he's gonna get kill more no matter what turn 1.
Yep, can't stop it.
And because I grabbed the board at that point in time, he couldn't teleport where he wanted to go.
And that's actually an important lesson against Grey Knights and Hypercrypt in general. Don't be afraid. They will shoot you no matter what you do. You can't stop it. So don't be afraid. Grab the board. You want to fight on the midfield objectives instead of fighting in your home objective.
Exactly.
Because then he doesn't score primary, and you can fight back from a comfortable scoring position.
So he did. I think he played really well. He made one big mistake, which I was able to capitalize on. He chose to just psychic me and shoot me with a pistol, I think, in melee, instead of falling back. And since he didn't fall back, I was able to kill him. I was able to consolidate. Then I was free to go shoot something and kill them later on with Lamartes, and that ended up winning the game. So that was actually a very tight game. But yeah, so that was a great lesson. I think I'm actually really proud of my decision there. It was no. I've lost this game, so I have to full send. Because that's how I can recover it. And
you can't hide.
Nope, don't try. So yeah, super happy with it. Round 4, I went into Rickard Stormhammer. He's an Admech player. Don't really have much to say about it. It was a really close game. He played great. Ended up winning.
Admech are legitimately good.
Admech are fantastic. I ended up winning 11-9. Props to him. He played an awesome game.
But Admech is very mentally exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
Very mentally.
I think I just happened to go second, so I was able to get the supply drop at the end of the game.
That's big.
That's what cinched it, because I did. It was 11-9, so I only won by like 7 points or something.
Scoring primary against Admech is difficult, but if it's turn 5, all those vanguards that are a problem with scoring are gone.
So props to him. Then we'll go on to that round 5. And this one I got really nervous for. We got repaired because we had some drops. So originally I was supposed to be playing Olaf Svensson with the Ironstorm list.
Who ended up coming second.
He took second in the tournament. Now, Olaf, I've never played him before. I talked to him a little bit. He seems like a super nice guy. And he's an incredible player. Like, an incredible player.
One of the best in Sweden. He won GothCon last year.
Oh, okay. So, so he was the winner last year, and he's just an amazing player. I would have loved to have played him in this round because I would have had much higher differential against him.
And because this was the one you could have won.
Exactly. And that would have knocked him out from being able to go on forward further to slingshot past me.
And if that had happened, I would have probably gone second.
Right. Probably. Sorry, buddy. So we did get repaired. I got repaired into Rasmus Haglund, which, by the way, awesome guy. He was your opponent in the last round.
Yes. He went 3 Norwegians in a row.
Yes, he did. He took 3 of us.
You do count as Norwegian.
Oh. Anyway. So Rasmus was actually a really good player. So you guys know I hate Caladius gravity tanks, but he actually used them really well. I was impressed by the way he used them. So he was running 3 Warden Blobs and double Caladius. That was, and he had Curio with the guard squad.
Very good at line control.
And he actually did a great job. It's just Blood Angels beat Custodes. It just is what it is. I don't really have much else to say. I won 12-8. So I didn't have really big wins this tournament, for the most part. I had a bunch of really close calls. But Rasmus...
When it's singles, you don't have to.
No, exactly. And honestly, dude, Rasmus played freaking well. Like,
he really knows his stuff.
He knew how to play.
And he is WTC adjacent, and it shows.
And it makes sense, right? Because, I expect that to be... Later, buddy. I expect that to be a 14-6 matchup.
Yep.
Like, bare minimum. And he took me to 12-8, so, like, props to him, dude. And then in the last round, I ran into Andreas Holm, the champion. He was the winner.
The Lion from Sweden.
The Lion from Sweden. If you guys don't know Andreas, he's a super huge sweetheart. I actually voted for him for best opponent. No one else did, apparently.
He is absolutely great.
I thought he was freaking lovely, Chad. He's a rock star. And he brutalized me.
Yep.
So it was my Blood Angels against his Drukhari. He had 3 units of Incubi, he had Lilith, he had Talos, he had Scourge, bunches of Venoms. This was a simple case of I did not know how to play Drukhari.
Yeah. We tried as much as we could to
we tried to prep,
coach it, but when you haven't experienced it, you just don't feel it.
Exactly. So I there's been a hole in my game, and I haven't gotten to play into Drukhari.
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
So one of the things that we were talking about earlier, Shetzel was asking me what I could have done to play the game better, and in all reality, I could not have won that game today.
Yep.
And it's not because Andreas was a much better. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying any shit about him. He earned his win. Like, he deserves his win.
Yeah, he bodied
he did a fantastic job. But he's not a better player than me. What happened is that I did not know how to play against Drukhari.
Yep.
And it showed in my play.
Yep.
And he, being the amazing player he is, took advantage of that and smashed me. And I'm mad props to him for it.
Exactly.
So that was a hole in my game plan. Now I can win that, even though I do think he still has a pretty good advantage in that matchup. But now I have the ability to win that, just from the knowledge of playing.
If you maybe have like 3 or 4 more games in
So I need to go grab a few more.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to hit him up. He said he wants to play a few, so we'll practice on TTS a little bit.
Hell yeah.
He'll help me get prepped. So that was just it was a matchup I didn't know how to experience. A couple other people experience things like this where they played against like Grey Knights for the first time or Hypercrypt for the first time and they just lose. And it's not because Grey Knights or Hypercrypt are overpowered. Hypercrypt may be a little overpowered, but not crazy overpowered. Although I would argue it's actually not really overpowered, but it doesn't matter. Anyway.
I think Court is better. Let it be said for the record.
Fair enough. So when you're in a tournament and you're playing an army for the first time.
Yes, sir.
It's probably going to be really hard to win.
Yep. You're probably not going to do it.
If you don't know how to play T-Suns, you're not going to beat T-Suns. If you don't know how to play Grey Knights, you're not going to beat them.
And your opponent can tell you all the tricks that he can do. You won't understand how it meshes together for a win.
Kind of like
you don't understand the win conditions.
Kind of like how, dude, that's so good. That's so true, right? And it's similar to like how I was saying earlier against my second opponent, the Imperial Guard player, when I told him about the 6-inch consolidate.
Yep.
But he knew. But he hadn't experienced it, so he didn't understand it, even though he knew it, right? So it's the same thing. Andres told me everything about... He didn't hide anything about how Drukhari work. It's just, I hadn't experienced it, so it wasn't real yet. So hopefully, I'm going to beg our captain to pair me into Drukhari in our scrim coming up.
That would be a good...
Yeah. And I'm gonna crush those Xenos. I already talked shit to him online, so we'll see if we can make that one happen. If we can grudge that.
Canada and Norway has big beef. We had a feud in Belgium.
This is awesome. I think everyone had a super great experience at GothCon.
It is.
Everyone was rock star. Everyone was super kind.
It is the most comfy tournament we've ever experienced. I think all of us.
It was a high level though.
Dude,
the play.
Because that's
Sweden.
The thing, right?
Oh my god, the play level in Sweden was just
the
on
base.
point.
The base level of players in Sweden
is high.
It's like there, right? In Norway, you have great players. You have medium players. You have the casual beer drinking, have fun, throw dice players. In Sweden, those casual beer drinking, have fun players are above our medium.
And I'm not talking a joke about Norway either. Like the level of play here has been skyrocketing.
Yeah,
like, oh my god, we're so proud of Norway.
But we are like 4 or 5 years behind them.
I think so. I think that's true. That's true. So yeah, dude, mad respect. I actually didn't have any easy games. I had like a game that was a little easier, but I didn't have any easy games.
But you can tell from the 2 TOs, both Neil and fuck, I forgot his name. Was it
Tom?
No,
not Tom.
Oh god.
Sorry, Bearded Wonder, we love you. We just don't remember your name. Sorry.
Yeah, I am really bad at names. I am really bad at
names. But he was the Bearded Wonder, and we love him.
And he was the one that set up the map pack.
Yeah.
Because it was a very detailed map pack. Instructions were on point. Grid system, measurements for everything. They did an excellent job setting up the tables. Everyone just did a little quick check because things get moved between rounds. And it was 2 games a day.
Yep.
And the layout was the same for both games every day. So at the end, the players just like put things up roughly the same as it was.
Well run.
Yep. So smooth with setup. So smooth with information. 2 games a day. We finished at 4 every day. We could have dinner. We could buy shit. Like, no stress, everything was comfy, and the level of play was amazing.
It's incredible. And can we just mention one thing? And we'll talk about this, and then maybe we can cut for the day. So let's just talk about the way the maps were.
Oh,
that's
exciting. An interesting thing. That's a very interesting thing.
So we're going to have the maps linked in the description down below. I encourage you to go take a look at it. And, shout out to Neil and on the whole team for creating this entire map pack. So they had 3 different terrain types. Yeah. So we had the Dutch terrain type.
Yep.
We had the game map terrain type.
Yes, sir.
And then we had the...
War games.
Thanks.
I don't remember. I don't know. You know
where... Game mat was the hex.
Game mat is obviously game mat.
Yeah. Right.
The Dutch terrain is made by CJ from the Netherlands. Like, that's what they do for singles and all that kind of stuff when it's not WCC. And then I don't know where War Games is from.
I don't either. But essentially the way it would work is the table you got was randomized.
Yep.
So you had the pack in advance, so you could plan for what was
randomized, but you could tell from where you was because it was 4 rows of tables. And every row was a different terrain layout.
So what that in advance we knew what all the what the options were for terrain.
Yep.
But you didn't know until you actually were getting ready to play your game which one you're going to be on. Exactly. So what happens is you get crazy punished for bringing certain skews.
Yep.
So what it says is, you want to bring 6 Nemesis Dread Knights and Canis Rex and a Land Raider? Well, maybe not Grey Knights. That's a bad example. But you want to bring a bunch of nothing but big stoppy dudes who can't move?
Do you want to do just artillery and like a gunline guard?
Do you want to do just infantry? Well, dude, you might get screwed based off of the table. So it forces balance in list building, or you're just willing to risk the dice on it.
Yes, sir.
And I loved it. I thought I was going to hate it. I really thought I was going to despise it.
Yep.
But I loved it.
Once you experience it.
Loved it.
Because the people that are used to UKTC, GW, or WTC, it's like, this is weird. There's 3 different types. I don't know what I'm going to do. But then you get down to it, you explore the sight lines, and then you look at the tables, and it's like Dutch terrain is actually really good. And the War Games terrain wasn't that bad either, because it's sensibly set up in the way that there were a few staging areas for melee still. You still had the paths, but if you were pure melee, like a World Eaters list that just went YOLO, probably would have lost anything, like the Anthony Vanilla style list.
Yep.
So the World Eater that showed up had a corn load of skulls. Because that works.
It did.
That helps.
It did. So, honestly, I love the terrain pack. I love the tournament. It was awesome. Yep. I think we crushed it. I feel I had victory in my teeth, but you know what? I actually don't feel bad about losing it. I couldn't have won it. No. I didn't have the knowledge of how to play the matchup.
There's no reason to be bitter.
No, so I'm not. I'm really not. And it was just an amazing experience. So props to Andreas for winning. Props for Olaf for grabbing second.
Yep.
Props to everyone else who was there. Team Norway, we had 3 representatives in the top 10. So freaking excited. It was a Rockstar tournament, and we're super glad. Thanks for hanging out with us.
We are going back next year, and we recommend anyone that is in Sweden or Norway or adjacent, at least. It is in Gothenburg. It is in the Old Town. It's right by the train station. It's easy to get to. Everything's walkable. The hotels are amazing.
And this video is not sponsored. But remember, finish up.
Oh yeah, and there's good food venues, pubs everywhere, and community is great. We all hang out after the tournaments. It's amazing.
So if you guys are looking to get into some more competitive gaming, we're going to start a new league on Happy Clumpin' in about a week and a half. I'll announce the official date probably tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
And it'll be a TTS league. It'll be randomized who you're playing every single week. You do get to change your list every week, but you change it before you find out who your next opponent is, so you cannot list Taylor. The entire purpose of it is to get you experience with multiple different ways of playing your armies, so that you don't have to get locked in and get stuck with the same army for 5 weeks.
Because if you get a bad experience, then you learn to make a better
list. We want you to become a better player. That's everything this channel is about, is making you a better player. We really want you to join up, and we'll see you later.
Yep.
Bye-bye.